So the products that I came out with, I came out with a film trailer, a poster, and a magazine cover. And I wanted the film trailer to be the main focal point of the whole thing. I wanted to create something that had a horrible atmosphere that was actually influenced originally by a survival horror game from back in the 90s called Resident Evil, which actually the entire game, although it's a horror game, the majority of the frightfulness is the fear that something's following you or something's constantly on your back. So I wanted to recreate that feel inside of the trailer by using music, very slow editing, lots of long shots, and basically a whole lot of nothing going on, but this constant eerie feeling that something very, very bad is happening. And how I did that was done by challenging the conventions of normal sci-fi and thriller films by basing it in a very, although completely destroyed, very ordinary and modern day greenhouse. And this greenhouse was the floor was broken up and there was a lot of rubbish everywhere, and it was very, very gloomy. But it was relatable. It didn't there wasn't any flying cars anywhere, there wasn't any shiny lights, so it didn't follow those conventions of sci-fi, but the ideology behind it did. As obviously the ideology behind it is that the world has been left a wasteland by our own people because we've become enslaved to this machine, which is where the sci-fi comes in. But in terms of the actual trailer, there is very, very little evidence of the sci-fi conventions other than the shot of Evelyn, where she's being drowned, where the screen is red, and the red was there to symbolise that she was both in trouble and inside of a world that isn't our own. I think that this challenged forms conventions of the ordinary sci-fi thriller film, because for the majority of the time in sci-fi thriller films you have this completely new constructed world that is completely out of proportion. A good example of which could probably be Minority Report or iRobot. In iRobot, for example, you have these machines everywhere and everyone has flying cars, and there's lots of bright lights, and although it's horrible and gloomy, you can tell that it's not the ordinary real world that we live in. It is an entire new construction of a world. In terms of the poster, when I was developing the poster, I actually first looked, because I wanted there to be a political underlining, but underneath my film, almost like a sub-story, where Matthew Mabus, which is a character you actually don't see inside the film trailer, he is the man who designed the hive and the machines in the film, and he is essentially framed for taking over the world, although it's not true. He's just being led on by this machine, and I originally thought, how can I convey his power to the audience? And this in itself turned into a way of challenging forms of conventions, because I actually modelled the original poster. This wasn't my final poster, but the original poster I modelled on a Obama Hope campaign poster from President Obama's campaign election back in, I think it was 2008. And I tried that. I got a picture of Mabus, and I tried that. But when I showed my audience, they didn't recognise it as a film poster, and they thought it was just a normal political campaign poster, even though I had photoshopped him some graffiti all over it, putting devil horns in his face and saying "coming soon," making it look like a film poster. And it was very subtle, but it didn't relate to my film trailer. So I thought, I have this creepy atmospheric film trailer. How am I gonna combine this with my ancillary tasks to make it a full product? So I mirrored this. I mirrored the atmosphere of the trailer into a poster by having a very simple picture of Dante with his hood up, surrounded by black. Keep it very, very simple. Lots of dark colours contrasting with the white text, with the cast names and coming soon in cinemas and the film name in the centre. And sadly, I had to use ordinary forms of convention in this poster by sticking to the very sort of stereotypical and generic, oh look, there's a floating head, he must be the hero. But it was very effective in combination with my trailer. It did reflect what was going on in the trailer, as half of Dante's face was digitised, and the other half was humanised, sort of explaining and mirroring what the film was about, but still be very, very simple and very enigmatic, which is the entire purpose of the film in the first place, to create this enigma that the audiences will be attracted to and will want to figure out, as they can't figure out just by looking at the trailer or the poster. The cover was the magazine cover was another attempt of trying to recreate this enigmatic imagery by having just what looked like a zombie's hand reaching up from the bottom of the page with blood all down it. It was mirrored in red to symbolise the digitised nature of it, and its veins were blue. After I had shown this to my focus group, they actually disagreed, and they thought it only reflected a generic zombie movie. But that doesn't mean to say that the combination of all three together actually wasn't successful. When I showed them in tandem together to my focus group, they agreed that they did reflect the entire film, although they did still believe the magazine cover was still quite weak. But it was effective in supporting the main product and enticing the audience into going into this world that I'd created within the Hive.